Hey stranger, have you been sitting around your house on a lonely Sunday afternoon and thought to yourself, wow, I wish my life was 10 times more awesome? Well, that is exactly what I am offering you today. If you look below this video, I'm going to offer you the chance of a freaking lifetime. As you can see, there is a PayPal button. If you go through there and complete a measly payment of $10,000, by the way, this is limited to the first 5,000 people, I guarantee to make your life 10 times more awesome. Do you want to sell 100 times more of whatever you're selling online? Well, if you go through that button below, I guarantee it will happen just because. And on top of that, I'm going to show you to lose 200 pounds in less than 2 weeks. It's what I like to call the 4-week body method, condensed down to 30 minutes. You don't have to change your diet. You don't have to do anything. You'll just be skinny, just because. It's just going to happen. And in fact, if you go through that button below, I'm going to show you how to have a successful political career and become president of the United States in less than 3 weeks. I've done it 5 times, and you know, it's just the results we get around here. So go through that button, give me $10,000. All you got to do right now is trust me. So come on, click the button, give me $10,000. You lose a lot of weight, be president of the United States, sell a lot of things, it will happen. Give me money. Don't you trust me? Come on, you trust me, right? Okay, so that right there is exactly how you don't sell something, in case you're wondering. But the funny thing is, about all that stupid stuff I just did, that is essentially most people's sales pitch online. Because whether you're selling $10,000 worth of bullshit or you're just selling a software, the number one thing you need to get somebody to buy something from you or actually listen to what you're saying so they will buy something is trust. Until you can get a person to 100% trust the words that are coming out of your mouth, you might as well be selling the presidency of the United States. And today on ABTV, what I'm going to show you how to do is a 3-step process I've created that works on any sales page, any sales video, any sales webinar or speaking thing where you're selling something that gets people to trust you in 3 simple steps right from the get-go. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you today on ABTV. Now, before we get into anything, I'm going to leave that very tempting offer below. I'm going to leave it wide open for you. With that being said, I want to first look at the relationship between trust and selling. And the way I want to kind of put it is, let's imagine we're playing a video game, a boxing video game. And what you need to understand is that every one of your sales tactics, every one of the benefits you hit your customer with is like the punches in a video game. And every time they get punched, their health bar gets a little bit lower and lower to the point where it hits 0 and they whip out their debit card. Now, like in any boxing video game, if you've never played one before, just bear with me for a sec, you want to hit the person in the place that takes off the maximum amount of health, has the maximum effect, and that is the face. You don't want to be punching people in like the butt or thigh or like earlobe, that's just weird. And the same thing goes with your sales copy, with your sales letters, with your sales videos. In order for your sales and benefits to have the maximum effect, take off the most buying limitations from them, you need to be hitting them square in the face. And in order to do that, you must have maximum trust throughout your copy. So if you want your benefits and sales techniques to hit them the hardest, you need to have 100% trust, and that needs to be your first objective from the get-go. And if you fail to have that trust right away, all those benefits, all those great things about whatever you're selling are not going to hit home as hard as they possibly can, because there's always a little bit of skepticism behind everything you say. So how do we get the maximum efficiency and benefit from our sales techniques and yada yada? Well, it comes down to a few things. The first thing is the most important. We must have a person's complete attention. We need a person to completely understand and comprehend every word that is coming in our message for them to take it in, have it resonate with them, and fully understand it. Until a person completely understands our message, we have their full attention, we cannot get their trust. They will not be listening to all the things that are coming in, therefore they cannot develop trust with us. So number one, we must have attention. We must find a way to have their attention, and then we need a way to win their trust. And the most powerful way to win a person's trust is to first turn them into an extreme skeptic of you. There's no more powerful thing than when a person walks in and calls absolute bullshit on you and you prove them 100% wrong undeniably. At that point in time, when you are able to put a skeptic back in their seat, that is when you're going to start being able to develop massive trust, because everything you say after that, since you proved them so wrong initially, is going to hit home, because they're not going to go back to that skepticism because they remember what happened last time. And that is the core of the 3-step process I'm going to show you that I use in almost every sales copy or webinar I do. Now, I know this is starting to sound a little bit like a sales pitch, but don't worry, I'm going to teach you this for free. But if my free stuff is this good, imagine how much my $10,000 content is. Now, the way this 3-step process works is it really hits all the points we just talked about. The first few things it does, it gets their attention completely. So I can hit them with all the things I'm going to hit them with. And on top of that, it also creates desire at the same time. It creates massive, massive, massive desire, while at the same time getting these people to call bullshit on me. That's what I want. I want a person to be extremely skeptical, because the best way to get a person to trust you is to turn them from a complete skeptic into a believer. Now, I'm not comparing whatever I do to like church or anything like that, but imagine you walk into like a church and there's this priest on stage like, God is good, God is great, it's going to save everything. And you call up in and you're like, you know what, you're lying. And then suddenly God strikes you with lightning. Then the guy's going to be like, see, I told you, you better listen to me from now on. You'll be like, okay, all right, maybe you have a point. I'm going to listen to the things you're saying. See, that's kind of what I want to go on with my pitches. Now, I don't want to be like a crazy priest striking people with lightning, but you see where I'm going through this. So let's get into these steps. Now, the 3-step process comes down to 3 steps, obviously. The first step is what I like to call the Urkel. Now, if you go into any webinar I've done in like the past year, the first thing you're going to see is me coming up and being like, let's talk about Urkel. Here's Urkel. He's kind of nerdy. He works on a computer. Look at where he's at now. Now, why do I do that? Why do I do that? Because when you go into a webinar, the first thing you're expecting to hear is, my name is Steve Billy Bob, and I make so much money online. Here's me in Hawaii with my wife, and everything is awesome. Let me show you how. Give me money. That's what everyone's expecting. And the second you go in and do what everybody else is doing, people get turned off. More so, when people are expecting a pitch, they're in pitch mode. They're like, all right, I'm going to take the content that I like from this and then just leave. I'm not going to buy anything. You got to take people out of that mode instantly. Now, what I do, I go on, I'm like, hey guys, this is Urkel. And so when a person's like in my webinar, like scrolling around Facebook, like talking to their grandma, they're like, wait, is this guy talking about Urkel in a sales webinar? What is going on here? And they come back and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. And the reason why I do this is to get massive, massive attention. So if we're in the boxing game right now, I get them to stop focusing on what they're doing and lift up their head. And now that I have their attention, I move on to step number 2. And by the way, the Urkel can work on a sales page, it can work in a webinar, it can work in a sales video, anywhere. But step number 2, next thing I do is make a big over-the-top, hypey promise that will get them to call bullshit on me. Now, what I'll do, I'll go in there and I'll find some way to connect my product to an over-hypey promise. Now, sometimes what we're selling is not that sexy. What we're doing doesn't do anything that crazy. But I find some way to turn what my product does into a magic show, or I'll find some way to turn the results into something just sounding absolutely incredible that will make people say, prove it, prove it. There's no way this is true. Prove it to me. You're full of crap. I'm going to walk out unless you prove it right now. And the reason why I do that, it's a little bit obnoxious, but it's not like people don't want me to prove them wrong. If I go into an SEO webinar and say, I'm going to show you this SEO tactic that made me $1 million last year without me being at my computer, they don't necessarily want me to be wrong. They're just extremely skeptical and want me to prove it. If I have that exact thing right there, they definitely want it. Now, where are we at if we're playing a boxing video game right now? Our prospect has lifted up their head and given us their attention, and now has their arms wide open saying, hit me as hard as you can. What a better position to be at when you're selling something, because all you have to do right there is prove it. You just have to punch him in the face, and that is where everything starts to go downhill in the sales process. That's where step number 3 comes in. Provide undeniable proof. And at this point in time, all I have to do is prove everything that I made in that big over-the-top promise. Now, I need to find ways to make it exciting, but also undeniable. Now, there's a few ways you can do this. For example, I used to have an SEO software, and it would build like the perfect SEO site in a very short period of time. Now, that's not too sexy. It's not like, oh my God, you made a website. What I did is I said, in the next 60 seconds, I'll show you how I can create a perfect SEO website with all this stuff with just the push of a button. Now that's big over the top and hyping. It got people saying, prove it, no way. And so it got them super paying attention to my product demonstration and more so excited about watching a little software build a big old boring site. Now you can also do this with just live proof, but also show your proof and other people's proof. Or you can go out there and you can do a live demonstration of whatever you're doing. You have the audience's full attention, they're saying prove it, and that's all you have to do. Now, what position does this put us in for the rest of the pitch? Well, it puts us in a really good spot because we have turned these skeptics into believers. Every sales technique we do, every type of pitch thingy, whatever sales practice we're doing, is going to be met with trust instead of a little bit of skepticism like every single sales pitch is. Because every one of your prospects is going to remember at the beginning of whatever you were doing, the webinar, the sales page, whatever, they called massive BS on you. They walked into your church and said, your God is not real, and they got struck with lightning. For the rest of the time, they're going to go, oh crap, I remember last time I doubted this guy and I was 100% wrong. I'm going to give him a chance. And boom, all your sales techniques can hit home and you are going to be able to sell much, much easier. Now, before I wrap everything up, trust does not sell products. People can completely believe your product works and still not buy it. They have to have desire. They have to want to get it. They have to know it's for them. They have to know it's going to help them. There's many, many more things that come with selling something, but the trust is what is going to make your sales techniques work. Without trust, your sales techniques are like punching a person in the butt and trying to knock them out. It just won't work. So you need to understand that as well. Now, with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode of ABTV. Now, if you liked all this kind of stuff, there's more coming your way. I actually put together a little PDF with all the 3 steps and examples you can apply to your business. You just have to go below and hit the tweet button in the bonus content section. On top of that, if you really like this sales training, you want to take your business to the next level, I actually have a charity above and I go around the country running events. People come, I teach them all sorts of cool stuff, how to take their business to the 7-figure level. And then we donate all the money to third world countries to help entrepreneurs who don't have the same chances other people do. So if you like that, go below, or go above actually, and it's in the top upper corner. It's really important to me and I'd love for you to join me. On top of that, go below. There's going to be a lot of on top of that, by the way. Go below and you see the little buttons below. I would love for you to friend me on Facebook. I love to see what you guys are doing with your business and so forth. So be sure to friend me below, and there's all sorts of other cool social media stuff you can play with. Finally, leave a comment. I answer all the comments, and if you have a question or anything, I would love to help you out. So, with all those on top of it said, thank you so much for watching ABTV, and I will see you next week. I put out these videos all the time, and if you want to see more, there's more videos lurking all over this site. I'll talk to you really soon. This is Alex Becker.